why don't we get started? Um, if anyone has any issues with audio or video, just let us know in the questions box. But we're going to kind of talk about uh, the problem, solution, results, get really into the weeds on five different clients here. Um, Quick introductions. My name is Nick Rajpal. I'm the VP of Marketing Sciences. I've been here at Exclusive for 15 years. I joined when we were a project-based business to develop our marketing solutions. So I developed our SEO program, Google Ads, conversion testing, email, and Amazon programs. And then to help coordinate kind of a growing number of holistic marketing channels, I built out a strategy team. Um, and over time, that's grown a lot. And we have um, between ourselves and the other agencies that we've picked up over the years. We have several hundred employees, and it's been a great ride. And I'm also the host of our webinar series. We do one of these every 2 weeks, but this is the first time where we're covering multiple case studies in a single webinar. It's a brand new format. We'd love to see if you guys like it.
Awesome. My name's Megan. I'm managing partner here at Exclusive. I've been here about 5+ years, and I've had the pleasure of working with many of our favorite clients, a few of which we're going to feature today, and we'll talk through their stories. I can introduce Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron Kovalevsky. I am a senior e-commerce marketing strategist at Exclusive. Um, I have also uh, really enjoyed working with some very large clients, and some of which will be featured today. I've been in the industry for about 11 years, done a lot of fun things in my career, and excited to talk through these slides with you today.
And Aaron was a former client of ours, which was
Yep.
really exciting that he got to see us on the other side for quite some time, and then we were able to bring him on to our team. Um, Very quick introduction of Exclusive. Most of our clients are emerging brands, or they're brands that you just get to know because they're part of a niche that you're interested in, or you need to learn about them at the right time. But we definitely have a lot of very well established brands, and most of what we're covering today is more focused on some of those established brands. What's unique about Exclusive is when we manage channels, like a lot of agencies do, we put specialists into each channel. So if you're working with us on Google Ads and Meta, you have a specialist for each who does like 45 hours a week of work in that platform their entire career. They know every lever and what it does. But because the number of channels we manage for clients has grown to about 15, um, we have another side of the business, which is basically our strategy team, um, and our strategists like Aaron and Megan, who are trying to approach marketing as if all of marketing was under one platform and find ways to connect data together. And our technology team helps us bring the data together from every technology, synthesize it, organize it, so that when we are creating strategies for clients, we can do that in a channel agnostic, single platform way. And then the specialists go and execute at the channel level. It's a different way of looking at things. It gives us so much more control over how we set goals and how we arrange our strategies. And you're going to see a lot of that as we go through each of these cases. So what we're covering today, just to kind of give you a high level look at things, is we're going to talk about how we took Jelly Belly, household name, and help them figure out their e-com strategy, their digital purpose. For Kylie Coastal, how we took some lingering segments in their business, we identified them, we thought they could be scaled, and how that grew their business quite a bit. For HP, they came to us because they wanted to show up for their main terms, and instead counterfeits and competitors were showing up, and how we turned that around for them. For Balance of Nature, they had an aging audience, and they wanted to get in front of new customers who would be loyal, but had never really been introduced to Balance of Nature before. And for Roughwear, we worked on their SEO side to really push up their momentum. Malvina, I see your hand is up. Um, if you would like to go to the questions box and ask your question, we'd love to answer your question. Um, but I do want to ask a poll here, folks, and see, you know, how many of these particular challenges are relevant to you? Like you've kind of been there before or something similar to one of these challenges. Wow. Okay. We got some clear leaders already showing up here. This is amazing. Thank you guys for this engagement. This is fantastic. I'm going to close this out in a few moments. Close it out in, by the way, you can choose multiple options here, but we'll close this out in 3, 2, 1, and let's look at this together. You got to kind of get a sense of your peers here as well. So driving up page 1 rankings on Google is the most common. Yeah, of course it's the most common. That makes perfect sense. Finding growth in undervalued segments is such a fun marketing challenge. I'm so glad that 47% of you are saying that you've been there before and you can relate to that. 44% of you would love to get your next crop of loyal customers. Great. That's, I love that case study. 33% of you still trying to find your digital purpose or have been there before. Um, 22% of you taking back SERP coverage in Google. That's a really unique one. And um, for the 22% of you who've dealt with that, it's gonna be meaningful for us to cover that. So to take us away, started with Jelly Belly.
Awesome. So when you think jelly beans, you think Jelly Belly, right? They've been around for a very long time. So Jelly Belly is a very well-established brand that when they nailed the retail market, they were selling jelly beans for over 30 years now, right? So when you go to a holiday gathering, you're probably bringing some sort of candy, you're filling Easter baskets, you think jelly beans. But typically you think to buy jelly beans in your nearest drugstore, your grocery store, or when you're picking up at something at CVS and you see a bag by the counter and you buy it as a treat. So expanding into digital was a new foray for Jelly Belly. So when they wanted to turn to DTC, they turned to exclusive. So we started partnering with Jelly Belly about 5 years ago now, as they expanded into digital marketing and their digital landscape. But instead of kind of taking the traditional retail route and selling through marketplaces and using their existing resellers that they sell through in store to sell online, Jelly Belly wanted their D2C and e-com business to be just as, if not more profitable than their current retail strategy. So instead of selling through marketplaces and giving a cut, they decided we're going to sell direct through jellybelly.com and we're going to put our full assortment there. So the challenge then became, instead of how much volume can we sell through online, how do we make e-com just as, if not more profitable than our D2C, than our existing retail business? So from there, working across organic search, Google and Microsoft ads, and meta advertising, testing, of course, different platforms and different tactics in between, Jelly Belly already dominates for jelly beans. So the first step was to defend our existing market share, right? There's a piece of the pie and we own most of it. So for any jelly bean term, color, size, bag variant, holiday, Jelly Belly owns that term. And when you search Google, you find Jelly Belly when you search the term jelly bean. But what people might not know is that the other segments of the Jelly Belly business, like licensed products for some of our most favorite Disney movies or Harry Potter movies, for example, or candy products for chocolate for different holidays like Easter and Christmas, or even candy corn for Halloween, you might not immediately think Jelly Belly, but we're there when you search. So instead of only owning their market share, we tried to find profitable ways to acquire new customers to not only buy their favorite jelly beans, but also turn to Jelly Belly for their favorite seasonal events, things like wedding planning or holidays like Easter, where you're buying not just jelly beans for Easter baskets, but also chocolate bunnies or other things like that, or candy corn for Halloween. So expanding Jelly Belly's footprint, not just within their existing market share, but growing it as they added more new product lines. So of course, we're heavily focused on those seasonal moments, but also knowing what types of terms generate the most purchase intent, right? So instead of just focusing on jelly beans and some of those existing variants, if you add jelly beans for Easter baskets, that term has significantly higher purchase intent than just red jelly beans or orange jelly beans, right? Someone might be in more of a research phase when that term is a bit broader. But if you add a holiday variant, a bag size variant, right? If I need 10 pounds of jelly beans, I'm planning an event. So there's high purchase intent there. So we started with defending those more general branded terms and expanded out both on the paid search and SEO side to understand what a customer's search indicated about their level of purchase intent. And from there, we made sure that our customer acquisition was profitable, right? The goal here is efficiency. We're not looking to expand our market share a ton. We're not looking to use online to generate a lot of brand awareness because we already have it. The goal here is to make this a well-oiled machine. So from there, we segmented our campaigns on Google and Microsoft by holiday so that we can make sure we're adjusting for seasonality, by product line so we know where our search impression share should be highest, of course, around those jelly bean and existing market share domination terms. And then also some testing campaigns. Where can we start to understand what searches have those high purchase intents and which might not, but Jelly Belly could be a good solution for that customer. So from there, we can expand using automated bidding strategies to optimize for efficiency and use dynamic ad formats to ensure that the really broad catalog of candy and confections that Jelly Belly has is served in the right way to the right person, searching at the perfect time. So since we began partnering with Jelly Belly in 2017, we've seen over 600% revenue growth in their site as a whole. So not only have we succeeded in marketing, not only have we been able to defend their existing market share, but we grew their loyal customer base. So this is tied just a little bit and competes with the story that you'll hear later, building a new crop of loyal customers. People already knew Jelly Belly for jelly beans. They picked them up in CVS, but now we're driving people through jellybelly.com and they own that customer. They're a Jelly Belly loyalist through jellybelly.com. So you own your entire customer journey from social acquisition to Google search, all the way through email and SMS. So we've grown every channel's revenue exponentially since working together. And every single month we hit those efficiency goals to continue to prove to a previously retail dominated company that e-com can be a very profitable and very lucrative way to build out your customer journey. So not only have we seen really impressive revenue growth, but again, we're also hitting those efficiency targets. And that's Jelly Belly's story still today, is seeing what we can test, seeing what's new, using all of these new automated formats like ASC Plus or PMax on Google to really make sure that we're testing every new way to efficiently acquire customers for Jelly Belly. So we're meeting with them again next week, and we'll continue to talk about new ways to test. Perfect. We can shift gears to another one of our clients here, which is Kalini Coastal. So Kalini Coastal was founded in April 2020, so in the thick of the pandemic, with a unique mission. So their founder, Meg Young, has impeccable taste. And instead of just having impeccable taste in her own home, which we love to use as a showroom for our ads, she decided to build an online boutique with a perfectly curated and stylized assortment of coastal home furniture pieces. So initially, Kalini started as more of a home goods brand, but they saw an opportunity to expand their product lines into furniture and some of those larger items that you need for a home. So you can see here, after being in business, we started to see a bit of a plateau in new sales. And so in July, I started speaking with the founder at Kalini and we partnered up. So instead of just kind of adding new products and hoping that things work and loyalists come back, they decided, let's turn on the gas and let's start building this thing from the ground up. So from there, we started on Meta, we started on Google, and we're currently expanding into Microsoft, and we've already expanded into Pinterest as new areas to acquire customers. And we're also working on ramping up SEO as well. So Exclusive was able to start to work on paid media and social to just ramp up spend and make sure that we maintain efficiency as we acquire new customers. So they saw that plateau and we were able to start another uptick. The first goal was, of course, efficiency, right? Let's start working together and let's cut the fat. Whatever you've been doing that's not working, we're going to cut it off, pull things back, and start to expand on the areas that have been already working to acquire new customers. So from there, we leaned into the segments that were working really well and started rapid fire testing some new cold audiences on social to understand who the Kalini customer was. Because someone who has a very unique sense of style is searching for very specific places to buy, right? They're not a Wayfair customer. This customer is not someone who shops at Wayfair or buys furniture on Amazon. This is a totally different customer that's looking for a very curated and stylized place to buy. So the initial ad targeting was not really reflecting the actual target customer for Kalini. So once we were able to sort of tweak and cut the fat, we were really able to scale. So then we get into segmentation. Segmentation is for, I would say, most of Exclusive's clients, one of the pivotal things that we're able to do when taking over a new client's business to really help them scale. Really identify the target customer, someone who is in a more rural part of the US, not near water, is probably doesn't have the same purchase intent or purchase journey as someone who lives on Nantucket and already owns a coastal home. So those two customers are going to be very different and they should be treated as such. The messaging should be consistent, the targeting should be consistent. So for example, if we're advertising a new kids collection and we have really fantastic pieces for children's rooms, we shouldn't necessarily be showing that content to someone who's not a parent, right? They don't have a kid's room to furnish. So in the simplest example, pairing parents of children and making sure that you're narrowing down your Facebook targeting to engage shoppers and narrowing your age and demographic to exactly who that customer is, pairing them with the perfect content to revamp their children's bedroom, that pairing is going to work every time, instead of using the same blanket content for every customer. So we were able to do that on both Meta and on Google by building out specific asset groups within Performance Max to make sure that we're targeting the right customer with the right imagery. And since that launch on Pinterest and on Meta, we've been able to consistently improve the return on ad spend and find great segments. So for example, when Coastal Grandma was trending, we were able to capitalize on that on Pinterest and also on Meta. So making sure we know the trend and the customer who's looking for our products and match it with the right creative at the right time. So from there, we moved on to optimizing performance, right? We've found our customer, we know what works for them. How can we launch new collections very effectively to make sure that we're showing people the right products and we're cross-selling to existing customers, again, building on that loyalist segment. So from there, we started to increase our Meta investment and scale on some of these new ads like our ready to ship collection or our new accent furniture collection. This was totally new for the original Kalini customer that was buying home goods, right? Now we have bigger pieces that when you're really considering revamping your home, it's going to be a larger investment for you. And also the purchase cycle shifts, right? As the average order value goes up, the purchase cycle usually elongates, and that's exactly what happened here. So there's latency to account for, and also a longer purchase journey to make sure that you're continually keeping that customer engaged and loving the brand. So as we started to expand, we expanded further into Pinterest and on Meta to see what types of categories that we sold that engaged best with a brand new customer, right? So instead of cross-selling to our existing customers these new collections, testing which new collections resonate best with new customers, we actually found that the bathroom category on Pinterest is really an area where people are looking to revamp. So anything that we can do to expand in there, we're already doing. So historically, the client has seen a really fantastic increase in ad performance, but the main objective is scale. We're not near the ceiling for Kalini. We're still growing. We're still testing new segments. I just was speaking with them before this, and we're testing some new things. So you can see here, we've seen an awesome increase for Meta ads and nearly a 10x increase on Google since we started working together.
Amazing. We got a question from Caleb as well. How are brands benchmarking their performance relative to the industry, the economy, the market? I.e., how do you know if everyone is up or down X% in the last 30 days? It's a great question. It's a question we ask ourselves constantly. So we've set up tracking for all of our clients, looking at who's up, who's down. We have it organized in several cohorts, and one of the key cohorts is industry. So it's easy for us to see at any given point a client who's in an industry where we have 25 other clients. What are the benchmarks, and are we seeing better or worse performance? And if worse, where's their alignment that we're missing? So um, yeah, really insightful. And when we don't have enough data, we have some support from our partners. We're Google's top partner, or largest ad spend manager on the East Coast. So Google Ads helps us quite a bit with data. We're Bing's rising star agency, so Bing gives us good data. We're Yelp's top agency. We're Big Conference Agency of the Year. We've got all these partners who um, kind of help us when we're looking for more information as well. All right, but for HP, and I answer that question here because HP was looking at a particular KPI that was tough for them to make a movement on. Um, Everyone knows HP. Innovation is kind of their key focus, and specifically um, outside of their computer world, printers is just a huge market for them, and their uh, top market share right now, 22% out of any brand in the printer space. The thing is that they were dealing with some issues, and the story backstory is kind of fun. I was presenting on SEO presentation at a Bright Edge conference in 2016, and HP was in the audience. And when we got back to our booths, Amy Shipman walked by and introduced herself, and she basically said this, like, HP has agencies on record. We can only stick with those agencies, but sometimes we get in a bind. And it was Amy's job to find partners who knew how to get um, someone out of a tough situation. They might be able to come up with a custom solution. So over the next several years, we talked about SEO and Google Ads and Amazon. And finally, she had a challenge that was really important for them to figure out. Specifically, their when you searched for any of their printers and you're looking for the cartridge that fits that printer, competitors are showing up, resellers are showing up, counterfeits were showing up, and they were aggressively marketing with higher margins in some cases because some of them were counterfeits. They could saturate the search engine ranking page. They were taking over, and essentially, we're getting to the point where HP's coverage was going away to virtually nothing. They had gone agency to agency trying to figure out one solution at a time. And the solution that we proposed to them was we want to create essentially like a variant level um, approach to Google Ads, where if you have a cartridge that fits 20 different printers, we'd want to show up for the printer name and cartridge as if they were separate products. And we felt like that would exploit kind of some gaps in the um, search mechanisms that Google uses for shopping specifically. We had to essentially coordinate between our own feed solution, um, SEO optimization of that feed, and create a very deliberate structure that allowed us to have variant level options, but the control over those variant level options so that we could control exactly which printer and cartridge we showed up for. And as we went in, we were able to start seeing an immediate improvement. Um, we had been able to do all of our testing specifically in the Canadian space, and we documented every change, every test, what failed, what won, into a master playbook. And the way HP works is they have a different designated team for every country. So while the HP Canada people let us use their account as guinea pigs, there were representatives in every other country for marketing, and we got the opportunity to develop the playbook for Amazon and for Google Shopping that we then went ahead and taught to every other geographic unit for HP. And part of the reason they wanted us to do that was we improved coverage that had dwindled from nearly 100% down to 35% under the management of other agencies. In the first day, we got that boosted up to 80%, meaning 80% of the results showing up for their target keywords were now HP results as opposed to counterfeits or competitors. We got hardware term coverage up by 100% within 4 weeks, supplies by 17%. And we kept measuring how much of the space is unrealized. It started at 48%. We got that down to only 19%. So a very unique challenge, but for the 22% of you that said that you've been dealing with something similar, there's always a way. You just got to know the theory. You got to know how the levers actually work. You got to postulate something that is executable, and then you have to execute a measure in real time.
All right, and I'm going to be talking about Balance of Nature and their efforts to find that next crop of loyal customers. Um, so a little bit about Balance of Nature themselves. They're a fruit. They only have 3 SKUs. They sell 3 products. They sell a fruits, a veggies, and a fiber supplement or vitamin, and they're all whole produce. So the fruits and veggies are literally freeze dried, powdered vegetables and fruits. You can actually eat the fruit vitamins. You can chew them up. They don't taste that bad. They're actually pretty good. The brand itself was started about 20 years ago by Dr. Howard. He really wanted to find a way to give people more nutrients, get their daily vitamins, and from natural fruit and vegetables, where they weren't getting that necessarily in their diet. And they really are focused on making sure people are having a better, healthier life by getting those truly key nutrients. And the challenge that they brought to us was they had a huge, really, really stable audience of older demographic. They were loyal, they were repurchasing, but they knew that the best opportunity to expand was to start engaging with younger, health-minded and health-conscious audiences, but they were having a hard time reaching them. They're having a hard time kind of finding them and getting in front of them in a way that was encouraging them to purchase. So in stepped exclusive, and I'm going to let Nick talk through the framework briefly, and then we'll come back to this.
Yep. So in the past 10 years, we've gone from managing roughly 6 different channels as like the perfect formula. Like if we just manage these 6 channels, we're in front of 100% of your potential customers, no big deal. And then so many more channels, SMS, marketplaces, social media popped up over time. And now we're managing about 15 different channels for our clients just to stay ahead of their competitors, be at the right place. And recently what we decided to do was just change the way we plan all this out. We do know that every platform from Amazon to TikTok is basically built by the same people. Like people switch from one platform to another, and they bring their knowledge of one platform to the next, and the feature sets are almost identical. Every single platform can target cold awareness, lookalikes, people who are actively in market, that's consideration. Remarket to past visitors till they buy, that's conversion. Remarket to past customers in segmented lists, that's loyalty. You can ask for likes and shares and reviews, that's advocacy. So now what we do is we plan strategies around these 5 desired outcomes that if we focus on all 5, they kind of help each other out in a very healthy way. And we know that this framework can be a lens through which we can tackle a lot of different challenges. For example, if we want to just keep marketing efficiency ratio as low as possible, that's dollars of marketing over revenue, we can kind of double down on things like conversion and improve that performance, and it'll work perfectly fine. But sometimes I want to think about things in a more long-term fashion. Instead of short-term marketing efficiency ratio, we look at customer lifetime value, cost per acquisition, net new customers. And when we want to activate that, we say what parts of the VAC are we going to activate? And we start to get a little bit more invested in awareness, consideration, doubling down on conversion just to make sure everything closes nicely. So when Balance of Nature was looking for a new crop of customers and we knew this is long-term thinking, we get to activate a lot of awareness, consideration, and conversion. We had the playbook ready, we got to execute.
Thanks, Nick. And then, so the remainder of this is going to be kind of talking through this virtuous activity and how each of these desired outcomes then feeds into the next. So when we're talking about that awareness approach to new customers and really making sure that we're putting these products where they need to be, really getting in front of those cold users who have shown interest in the relevant categories, whether it be fitness, personal care, green living, and so many others. We then want to make sure that we're putting this where they are. So think places like YouTube and other programmatic channels. And in doing so, we garnered 15 million impressions and over 200,000 clicks, and driving back to the site, and many of them from a much younger demographic and in that new demographic, which is huge. And then also supporting that with other channels across social, with Meta, kind of like Megan said, utilizing some of the new campaign formats from the ASC Plus, and making sure that we're getting in front of those cold audiences and really, really driving some awareness. And also making sure that we're layering in that demographic with the younger audiences and continuing to drive those users back to the site. And and a lot of those audiences are based around their interests, and if they've shown an intent towards wellness products or a healthier lifestyle. And really, these are the key features that Balance of Nature's products answer. So making sure that we're continuing to lean into their strengths. And then we also, across social media, this is, we're making sure we're doing this across multiple channels. We did this very similar tactic across Pinterest, where we're making sure that we're targeting the younger demographic with a lot of cold audience and layered targeting. And then, moving on into that consideration phase of the virtuous activity cycle, really looking at their search campaigns and boosting up their non-branded keyword strategy to support, because we know brand terms is going to be conversions. If somebody's searching for your brand term, they know who you are. They're going to buy. It's either going to be organic, paid, but they're going to find you. But building out a really high quality non-branded keyword strategy that allowed us to get coverage for these terms, and utilizing language that we knew the younger demographics were going to use, that under 35 or that 22 to 40-year-old audience is really kind of where we found a lot of that success, and continuing to boost the awareness among them, and tracking things back to net new searches or looking at net new users and engagement. Really, and layering in exclusions too, right? If we know that they're a past purchaser, we already know some of their demographic details, making sure that we're excluding those audiences really, really helped us as we started to go after that crop of new customers. And then as we moved into conversion, really making sure that we're supporting both their own marketing efforts, because they do also do some things on their own across TV and more traditional older marketing efforts, but making sure that we're supporting that with remarketing, discovery ad campaigns, because their product's nice looking. They do great content with their images and their video, and making sure that we're really showcasing that and closing those audiences who have engaged with our ads, who have engaged with the site, making sure that we're bringing them back if they've abandoned their carts, or even if they were a recent past purchaser that definitely fell into that younger demographic, making sure they continue to engage with the brand. And so then talking through this as we sort of look at this kind of flattened out across the VAC, paid search year over year, with our new kind of revamped strategies and ads, we saw 72% decrease in costs per acquisition in the CPA. We also saw an 86% increase in revenue. On Meta, the year over year, the new Meta strategy was kind of ridiculous, but we saw a 72% decrease in cost per conversion, massive increase in conversions, over 33%, over a third increase in conversions, 40% increase in revenue, and a 30% improvement in their ROAS. Pinterest quarter over quarter, which was a new channel for them, completely new. We introduced it. Quarter over quarter, we saw a 331% increase in revenue from the initial quarter when we launched it. 263% increase in pin clicks and engagement, and a 309% increase in conversions. And then, as we talked about the awareness and that display programmatic overall, we drove 50 million impressions, over 200,000 clicks to their site, and the average CPC was under 30 cents. And the click-through rate was actually over 2%. So really just great engagement and really driving a lot of that awareness that then runs back to those great revenue increases. All right. And I'm also going to present on Roughwear. So another one of my favorite clients, and really driving up their page 1 rankings on Google. This is, a little bit about Roughwear. Roughwear is a beloved dog gear company. They're like dog accessories, their harnesses, their dog boots, leashes, collars, and they actually have a lot of stuff for, like we say here, with their adventures. They have float coats, which is basically a life jacket for dogs. They have harnesses for buckling your dog into the car, as well as lots of other more day-to-day wear for your dog. And so the challenge that they came to us was they were really seeing their overall paid search kind of struggle with increasing competitors that were starting to outspend and really push Roughwear around a little bit. And that's to say that we really wanted to look at how could we support what they were already doing on paid search, but from the organic and social side. So really looking at that cross-channel approach to increase the brand's visibility and organic traffic through SEO strategies, but then also supporting that with driving new customer acquisition across social media, and then really incorporating the social mix, not just as its own channel, but really looking at how is it supporting both paid search and social. And then through that process, are we increasing the customer lifetime value and driving that really important personalized content across the channels? And so on the SEO side of things, we really did a lot of research into both what were their competitors doing, what did the landscape look like, and what were the keywords that were the most crucial for this brand. And then where are they ranking, where their competitors have managed to take some of that market share. And so we started working with their team to introduce new pages, creating more articles, blog posts, driving, an overall massive surge in keyword volume and impressions. And then also taking their top category pages, the most important things, so, dog harnesses, dog boots, dog collars. These are non-seasonal products. These are products that people need year round and wear out and people need to replace. So making sure that we're controlling those pages. And by doing the way we did this was really incorporating a lot of FAQ, frequently asked question content, and structured data into their site. And we saw really significant results and fairly quickly. Google page 1 rankings have increased by 230%, organic clicks have improved by 72%, and impressions have increased by 187%. And then looking at how are we also supporting this in that cross-channel effort. So we introduced seasonal and interest-specific ad content to audiences with relevant interests. So if you've shown interest on Meta or on any social platform about biking or running, paddleboarding, and we know you're searching for dog, or you've shown that you have a pet, we want to make sure that we're showing you relevant content. We increased their investment of 20% more budget in this approach for that new customer acquisition, looking at, excluding current purchasers or past purchasers and looking for that net new customer. And that resulted in, so we invested 20% more, but we actually saw a 102% increase in revenue and a 41% decrease in their cost per acquisition. And Roughwear's overall ROAS for Meta currently sits at about a 3.5 to 1, 336%. And so what does the results look like as you start to combine these down? So the conversion rate increased by 17.2%. The organic channel drove almost 24% more traffic, or 24% of all traffic to the site. And that's more than any other channel. And the organic channel was actually attributed with driving 22% of the total revenue for their e-commerce site. The average order value also increased about 6% year over year. And so some of the unique learnings that we took out of all of this was that we were seeing organic traffic convert at a 43% higher rate. And we also were finding that if people had engaged or interacted or been influenced by paid advertising and later came back to convert via the organic channel. So we were engaging with them on social, they were engaging with the content, but then they weren't buying at that moment. They were coming back to the organic channel and buying. And we were able to track all of this across. And so we saw a 43% in conversion rate for float coat ad. For the float coat ad was higher than the site-wide conversion rate by about 4% for the organic channel. So we were driving those people back, these targeted users back to buy through an organic channel. So, which is also a really great way to think about it too, where you're investing upfront in that meta interaction, and then you're capturing them back with the, essentially free click on the Google organic rankings, and just trying to see how that all interacted with each other was really, really awesome and a really great learning for ourselves and for the team over at Roughware. And with that, I will give it back to Nick.
Yeah, thank you guys for both sharing it. I know you and your teams have been able to take on these challenges that are pretty stressful at times. When there's something unique that a client's dealing with, we have enough in our framework to help figure it out, but sometimes it's the first time we're doing a particular solution, and to see that because it's guided by our principles and our playbook and our framework, it works out, is always comforting. Folks, we're going to go ahead and just, before we go to any other questions, just want to see if anyone's interested in allowing us to take a crack at, kind of planning out what we might do for your business. So there's an extensive process here. If you do say yes, then you first meet one of our business development reps who will basically try to figure out if you actually are a good fit for what we've built on our side. Are we really going to be the right partner for you? And if the answer is yes, then you either meet with myself or my colleague Liam, and we go through and learn your business. We figure out who your competitors are, how your business works. We study all of your competitors versus you and your presence on Meta, TikTok, Pinterest, Google, organic Google search ads, Google Shopping, Amazon. We're trying to understand what kind of proof of concept exists out there, how your customers are actually making purchase decisions, and what that should do, what that exercise and all that information should do in terms of influencing where you spend your money, to be able to capture customers with the lowest probability of failure. So it's an extensive process. We don't charge for it. If you have ads accounts in Amazon or TikTok or Meta or Google Ads, we'll do extra steps there. We'll go through and we'll bring someone in who's an expert in that area to dive in. But no rock unturned in our planning. Only when we have a perfect plan for you that we can all agree on do we bring you on as a client. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. In the meanwhile, I know there were a lot of topics that we covered here, and it might feel like your question is not relevant because we covered so many topics. You had one specific about something that we covered 20 minutes ago. Go ahead and ask it. No big deal. We have the people who know the answers right here. Eddie has asked a question. Will we provide a link to this presentation? You're going to get a PDF copy of the Prezo. You're going to get a recording of the presentation. Absolutely. We already answered Caleb's question. We do have 15 minutes left, so we're open to any questions you guys want to ask us right now. Even if you have a question about your own business and you'd like to have us take a crack at a particular challenge that you're dealing with, you got some of the smartest minds on our team here on this call. Why not throw us one? Throw us a question. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to close out this poll and let's see. We'll give everyone another 30 seconds or more to ask his question. I won't say the name out if you don't want me to, but don't be shy if you have a question. And if we don't get any more questions, no big deal. We've got everything ready for you guys to watch this again. How would you go about fixing an SEO hit resulting from a Google core update? Um, so first we would uh, do some triage. Um, we want to look at your data and see whether your ranking drop aligned with an actual update. We have a library of dates that we've populated on our side, so we know if there's a correlation between an actual update and a drop, then it's disalignment with the algorithm after that update. If not, if it kind of seemed like it was at the same time as an update, but our data is telling us otherwise, we're going to look a little deeper. The cliff drop um, that you usually see in rankings is typically not from an algorithmic update, but rather replatforming, changing of URL structure, updating of your Magento type of thing, um, switching your blog from subdomain to folder, back and forth, consolidating domains, separating domains, changing your faceted search, changing your pagination, changing the position of your content, your HTML markup, your FAQ structure is usually something else that is culprit. So we'd rather look for two or three suspects that caused the problem as opposed to assume it's the core update. If it's a core update, easy. We know how to solve any core update. There's enough clients that were hit by every core update that we know what to do in that situation. Um, yeah, would love to get more insight on your business, and we can start looking at historical drops right away. Thanks, Caleb. Stacy's asking, can you speak to if any of these results were achieved organically versus increased budgets? Um, yeah, Aaron, Megan.
Yeah, for balance of nature, um, there was obviously some budget increases as we started to scale, but it was always driven by performance. That's true for Roughware as well, that anywhere where we were increasing performance was driven by a need or um, driven by performance results. So we were seeing the ROAS increase. We knew that this increased traffic was beginning to convert at a higher rate. Let's increase the investment then. It was never just, we're just going to spend more to get more and ROAS be damned. It was always driven by performance.
Yeah, same for Kalini and Jelly Belly. It's always driven by testing to see which audiences and which ads perform best and achieve the return on ad spend goals, and then we scale from there. So the first step, like Aaron said, is to increase the return on ad spend or find a new area of opportunity that has the same current efficiency and then scale investment on top of it. So it's usually cut and then scale.
Awesome. Christopher, you've asked a question. You're a wholesaler of contracting supplies, no e-commerce presence until now. What suggested channels should you look at? Potential starting budgets. So the first opening move that we do for all clients is trying to define of our two key playbooks, search-based versus brand-based, what is your business? So if it's a contracting supply that you guys offer is novel in any way, or you're like a novel solution, or contractors prefer to only use brands that they know, then we'd want to focus more on awareness and conversion. That's what we call a brand-based journey. If on the other side, you are um, a seller of a very ubiquitous, high volume, type of product where, you know, it doesn't really matter who you buy from, try to find like the best price. Um, that's probably a search-based journey where the most important thing for us to do is have great search visibility with search ads, shopping ads, SEO, um, maybe YouTube. But we'd have to determine those two. Is it kind of tackle the high intent transactions that are happening anyways, or do we have to generate interest? And that would be the first thing that we figure out. Based on that, we can help identify the exact channel mix, targeting, and ad spend levels. So would love to speak more about that. Um, any other thoughts, Aaron, Megan, on that one?
No, I agree. The search or brand-based journey is going to be key there, but then the starting budget is often going to also be somewhat defined by your AOV. What is your current volume? What can you support without putting anything in jeopardy? So yeah, that would definitely be something that we want to determine based on, your current volume, what is your goals, and what is the short-term expected results that we're hoping to turn around. That would be what drives the starting budget.
We probably also want to understand the mechanism of your business. Like
Yeah.
our client like Bonobos, the pant seller, when they came to us and they wanted to launch their business, they knew that their customers are going to buy a lot of their products over and over again, that the customer lifetime value was going to be $500-$600. So we didn't think about return on ad spend at all. So $100 cost per acquisition, get as many customers as possible. Losing money doesn't matter. We'll make it back later. Another one of our clients was going to basically sell incontinence products for elderly people, and they had already done the backwards math that $8,500 to $9,000 per customer lifetime value, even if the first purchase was about $50. So again, we lost money on every first purchase. Trying to figure out, can we do that type of long-term strategy where the CLV is going to be high, our cost per acquisition can be high, and we do net new customers? Then you burn through cash, but you grow your business. If you are cash strapped and it's going to be a lower customer lifetime value, then we want to teeter towards marketing efficiency ratio more. So that will have a big impact on ad spend and something we revisit every single quarter with you because those are questions we've got to ask for the integrity of the finances of your business. Caleb is asking, do you use meta view through conversions? If so, how do you audit them for accuracy and or if the customers were going to buy anyways? Curious on your thoughts. I have my own thoughts on this as well.
Uh, so on the meta view through conversions, it, it the reason the questions being asked is because it is notoriously hard to audit and to say, were they going to purchase anyways? One way that we can do that is you can test against it by, a few different methods, some more extreme than others, but you can A/B test your audiences a little bit and try and segment off and say, if they didn't see this ad, what is the likelihood for conversion utilizing the similar audiences, targeting. And yeah, we try to make sure that we're not just, and we're never going to say that, how do I want to put this? That just because they saw an ad and they purchased, absolutely it's meta. There's always other channels that we're trying to make sure that we're using a data-driven, in a data conscious way of looking at attribution here. But Megan, you're welcome to weigh in too.
Yeah, I think view through conversions are tricky, right? Because the view through on a social ad is always going to be an important touch point because the way that users use social is, especially for higher AOV clients, there's going to be a lot of latency that's accounted for with the view through, right? You're reminding them of your brand while they're in the purchase cycle. For shorter term conversions, if your AOV is under $80, you do want to check on that 7-day click, 1-day click attribution model. The way that we segment our customers on a very basic level is by 3 different segments. So cold audiences, excluding anyone who's ever visited your site before, then past purchasers, which excludes only includes your people who have purchased from you, so your email list of past purchasers and people who have purchased on the website, and then this middle bucket called new customer remarketing that excludes past purchasers, but includes people who have visited your site before. So by segmenting your customers in that way, you can look at the different attribution models like 7-day click, 1-day view, which is Meta's recommended, or just 7-day click or 1-day click to understand how each of those different segments performs. Because like you said, past purchasers on a view attribution model, they may have been purchasing anyways, but if you know that you've excluded all of your website visitors and past purchasers from an audience, they likely weren't already going to buy anyways because they're totally net new. So going the extra step to make sure that your segments and your campaigns are very clearly unique will help kind of bypass any sort of attribution questions.
And I'll add one point that is beyond just the view through conversion part. In general, now that we introduced this concept of search-based versus brand-based journey, again, a brand-based journey where awareness kind of is the driver of your efficiency, and it is search-based showing up for non-branded terms is your main go-to. What we're finding more often than not is that a brand-based journey, their awareness campaigns show really good results. And for that same brand-based journey, when you look at your Google Ads, the results don't seem to be there. It's the return on ad spend is significantly lower. For example, we looked at a brand-based journey the other day. Their awareness return on ad spend was 6-1, consideration was 2-1, conversion was 20-1, loyalty was 40-1. Yet the consideration part, the search ad side, was driving a 75-1 higher impact on revenue. So Google Ads was saying, we're not helping. When we did the actual math, we found out that it was helping. So you get these like weird false flags out there. In a search-based journey, Meta will show that it's not having an impact when it actually is. And in a brand-based journey, Google will say it's having no impact when it actually is. And you have to use first a sense of understanding that search-based and brand-based are going to have these false flags, but you can also use media mix modeling, which calculates the actual impact of these channels using multiple regression modeling, which we have working in real time for our clients in our business insights system. So we can get through some of these weird anomalies where you're like, I'm scratching my head. I know this is helping. Why does it say it's not helping? Or this looks like it's helping too much. How come that's not getting credit? Christopher with the contracting supplies question says, okay, your foot is in the door. We should have a conversation. Looking forward to it. Thank you, Christopher. Folks, we're up on our time here. Thank you. So many of you stayed all the way through to ask questions and hear the questions out. Thank you for taking time with us on a Wednesday. Megan, Aaron, thank you guys for telling the story of the work you've done with your clients. Really appreciate you guys doing such great work and then being able to explain it back to the world out here. Recordings coming, PDFs coming. Hope everyone has a great week. See you in 2 weeks again.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.